welcome to another podcast of Into the 99, where we've got 99 cards because Commander's number one. I'm your hostess with the mostest.
Sorry to interrupt here. We're actually into the 49 today, Zach. We're talking tiny liters.
When was I going to be told about this?
Right now.
We tried to tell you and you wouldn't listen.
So yeah, as I mentioned, we're talking tiny liters today. The whole point of it is alternate formats that you guys might want to give a try. So take us away, Brian.
Oh, I have no idea about tiny league. I just too busy. But I hear you see you guys talking about it. It does seem like an interesting format. It's 49 cards, so half of a standard commander, and it's still a singleton format, and you can only have 3 or less CMC.
Yeah, the whole point of it is to try and make a little more possible budget friendly, although as we'll talk about later on, it doesn't have to be budget decks. But on top of that, just a format where it's smaller spells, smaller life totals, and just quicker games overall. It's meant to be a one-on-one format, but there's also lots of multiplayer potential. We really want to play as a multiplayer group.
Brian touched on it, but to go in a little bit more detail, you have 25 life. There's no commander damage. You still build your commander deck, or you still build your tiny leader deck like you would a commander deck. So you pick a legendary creature. Its color identities have to, all the cards have to match the color identity. There's a specific ban list for the format. Everything has to be 3 CMC or less. I think that's it.
Yep. In general, the other big change is there's two things that do not function the same as Commander. Number one, your tiny leader can be tucked into your deck. So if somebody goes to shuffle it, you do not have the option to send it back to the command zone, which I think is a good change. It makes you actually build some protection in. Otherwise, you got to search for your commander through the deck, which I think is fun.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, the tucking rule I personally thought was really, really positive for EDH, and I didn't think it should have been changed.
I agree.
Yeah, I like that because I did that multiple times. I tried to force someone to shuffle their commander, where they're like, just put it back to the command zone.
Yeah, I really like the ability to tuck someone's commander into place like that. It just kind of really changes how you have to protect your commander and how you actually have to think about it. And the whole point of the game, I'm not gonna say tiny leader the whole episode. I'm just gonna call it commander. So having to protect your commander is an important thing. They're supposed to be the leader of your deck. You wouldn't leave them alone, yet all of us leave them alone. I do not run choose the fast boots in nearly enough decks.
So the tiny leader of your deck?
Yeah, exactly. The other rule is, and I also really like this, sideboards are allowed. So you are allowed to sideboard if there's something that can use a wish effect, like a burning wish, to fetch a card from outside of the game. Outside of the game exists as your sideboard.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so it gives it, first and foremost, it gives it a little bit more variance and stuff. You can kind of switch it up to the meta you're playing in, but also it lets it, EDH is never going to be a format that can have tournaments. You can play tiny leaders as competitively as you want, as casually as you want. There's going to be no right or wrong way, but with a sideboard, you actually have a little bit of an opportunity to maybe play some actual events with it, maybe play some one-on-one, maybe play some group ones and say, okay, I'm getting milled. Like, what do I have in this deck's wheelhouse that can maybe deal with this for game 2? I've always really, really liked the idea to be able to sideboard. That's one of the things I actually like about most of the other formats is changing out, going against, like, I like to build to the meta, as I've talked about many times, right? So that just gives me another chance to build to that meta.
I just really like the idea that you can use wishes in this format.
The wish cards are just wonderful.
They're so much fun. Like Living Wish is one of the.
Yeah.
I personally, I wasn't aware of the sideboard. I probably will build some kind of a toolboxy sideboard with the deck I'm working on, just so I can go get lands and.
Well, exactly, and maybe you can switch it out and stuff, right? Like if you're going to be going against something that's abusing Field of the Dead, for instance, right? Being able to slot in that strip mine and actually deal with it is so important because there you don't always need a Field of Ruin or something in your deck, but against something that is running a land-based strategy where you actually have to deal with it, I like the potential to go and search for some answers myself.
Absolutely.
I think it's really interesting. I think it's really interesting too because it makes us reevaluate cards again. That's one of my favorite things that I like about Commander is how we evaluate cards is typically different than other formats, right?
Oh, things that are good in Commander are just terrible in other decks,
hmm and
other formats.
that's kind of what we were talking about with tiny leaders. Like, I typically I'll play negate all day, but I won't even look at mana leak. And now in this format, it almost feels like mana leak
It's a great
is
card, yeah.
viable. Yeah,
Even the
like
ones
there.
that are like mental misstep is insane in this format. I mean, I know it's really good in CEDH, but in normal EDH, mental misstep, I don't think even gets
Well,
a
and
pass.
that was some of the issues that I've seen in my research was talking about is that because we're 3 CMC or less, the format was considered solved for a very long time, meaning like, there were decks that just you played these cards because that's what you played.
There was for a long time a top of the meta from what it seemed, but the last real official updates from there's been a lot of fracture to the format, but one of the official list has only been updated in 2018, and its last ban was Najila.
Wow.
And there's so many things since then that have just like entirely reshaped and changed. We just saw with Commander Legends all the new partner pairings and stuff. There's so many like Mira and Numa, for instance, if you want to build a Golgari themed elf deck, right? Like there's just so many different options now available. You have the introduction of Thassa's Oracle from the Theros block, even Heliod, like the new Heliod God enchantment. There's
Cards are
so many
wicked.
new things that are available in that CMC range that I think just vastly change how you would play this format.
I
And
oh sorry.
well, we got Modern Horizons too within that block of time, and we
Yep.
have all the like. Granted, they still have to be 3 CMC or less, but there are a lot of the force spells that were really good in that set that are very viable in this set
Yep.
or
Well,
this format.
there's
I
the
believe
block.
Force of Despair is, yeah, Force of Despair is
Mhm.
3 or less.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 3.
I'm not going to pull it up and look right now, but I'm pretty sure it is. Um, so it doesn't really have anything else for comprehensive rules, but the problem with the format as well. Like let's first off just talk about some of the glaring problems with the format. Number one, there is no standard agreement of what is or isn't allowed. Some places say you can use any planeswalker with 3 CMC or less in kind of the Oathbreaker frame of mind. Some say you can't, like some say you should ban this, some say this is legal, some say this isn't. So when you're playing, one thing that needs to happen is an agreed on ban list. So if
Yep.
you're going to play with your friends, just play what you think is going to be reasonable. Follow just the general guidelines of their current ban list, but do what you should be doing in EDH in general and talk. Talk to the people you're playing with. Have a conversation. Say like, if this is problematic, like I'll stop playing this, right?
Yep, 100% there has to be that conversation. If it's not happening, then the game's not evolving.
Yeah, Rule Zero still needs to apply and stuff, right? And especially without such a concrete ban list, like we do have to make sure we're having those conversations as groups as we're playing this. We are going to be on our Discord for the very least hosting these games and stuff, right? We will have a ban list that works for the people who are playing it. And if something is just coming in overwhelming the format, we're definitely going to chat with everyone, see what they all think.
Again, it's up to the community as a group to announce or let each other know what they've seen as a problem. Because
Yep.
again, you might play with your local play group, and then you come and you play on the virtual play group, and there might be something that you personally dislike or believe that should be banned because of experiences that you had. Like,
Another one of the rules in Tiny Leaders, I'm just going through the list still as well. There are no free mulligans in it.
ooh,
So you do mulligan
It's
down.
interesting.
You use the Vancouver one, which I believe is you scry your next one.
mm-hmm.
Okay. But once
Uh,
again, that hasn't been updated since 2008. So
yep.
that's something we could look at and potentially go the route of, like, I think
And
current
I
standard, where you continue to draw, but then you put each time you mulligan, you put it on the bottom.
and I think too that this is all coming from a 1v1 format as opposed to a multiplayer version of the format, which is something we have to like kind of keep into consideration. Like um it's still rule zero, so obviously it's all going to be different depending on how and who you're playing with, what your group looks like. But I'm always for like everyone, just getting a playable hand. So if we're 1v1, yeah, no way. You you keep mulligan until you mull down until you get something that you can play.
Well,
Right.
typically
I
1v1 is much more competitive than
Exactly.
multiplayer.
even as a group with a 50 card deck, I think that you can't have free mulligans because you've doubled the chance of drawing everything in your deck, right? So even without like your soul ring and stuff, like the ability to hit the cards you need is twice as high, which I think what is why the mulligan rule needs to exist that way. Like,
Gotcha. Okay.
That's a
yeah,
good
like
way of
it,
putting it.
yeah, like you just have, like I said, like think basically you're taking the same chance as 2-for-1 mulligans in EDH that way, right?
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about the math involved.
Well, and then the
The other
other
thing,
thing
though,
too
I
is
mean,
everything's 3 CMC or less. So you're a lot more likely to, it's not like EDH where I'm holding 7, like 8 drop cards, right? Like
yeah, but you
everything.
also are playing half the amount of land.
Yeah, exactly. So which for Zach is 40.
I only have
But I mean,
one
Uh,
it's the same thing we said, though. It's up to the play group. I mean, there's nothing to say that you can't play with free
Yeah,
mulligans if you
my
want to play
way
in a
isn't
group.
the right way necessarily, just like anyone else's, right? Like every version or variant of Commander has to start with that one thing. Is everyone having fun? Does everyone enjoy this? Are we all having a good time? Are we all getting what we want out of the game? And if you're not going to be getting what you want out of that specific game, why are you playing it, right? Like if you're not having fun, why are you there?
you move to a different
Absolutely.
format, or you just
Yeah.
get tired of it and you don't want to play it anymore.
Well, and that's it, right? If you eh, we all have players who we know that are competitive and stuff. I'm my group's competitive person, and if all I did was try play the most competitive combos that I could put into things, people would eventually get tired of it. I have to play with what the group is playing, not just what I individually want to play.
so with that being said, Dan, what exactly are you thinking about brewing around
So
with tiny leaders?
before we even get into that, I'll show it for the video. But it's I've definitely just have to sleeve the deck up. I'm personally building Leovold, Emissary of Trest, because I love the card. I don't think it should be banned in Commander. I think people should play more removal. Stop being cowards. But that's just me.
That
I've
is
always loved the effect of it. I love the artwork of it. I don't understand why I can't have my commander that makes you not draw, but everyone can play Narset or Hull Breacher. Everyone's like totally fine. Get treasure tokens. I
All
understand.
Breacher's
I
fair.
understand why Leovold is banned. It just is wrong. It's the wrong thing to do.
Right.
How are they gonna
Dan,
ban Leovold and then make that beautiful box topper? You tell me that.
if you stop running so many draw spells in your decks, Hull Breacher's not that good.
Well, this whole deck is draw. It's Hull Breacher
this
will
whole
Hull
this
Breacher
whole
will really just throw a real wrench in my game plan. Yeah, I know you have a real stack of them. Anything that stops me from drawing is going to be just a very someone finds a way to like play Nekusar or something in this deck. It's whew.
I think I have 7 or 8 Hull Breachers.
Yeah, Hull Breacher's real good.
I think Opposition Agent might be disgusting in this format.
Yeah, I could see that.
Might.
Let's before we even get into the
I
thing
might have to
like
make like a tiny leaders rogue deck or something.
Do
one
it.
of our other partner one of our other members here has also made it. Benson made Tiny Bones.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Tiny Bones make me discard all those cards that I'm drawing.
Oof.
That seems rough.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that.
I'm excited about what I've got going. I'm doing a Rami Death Tide.
Well, and that kind of ties back into what we said, right? There is so many new things available, so many new cards, so many new legendary creatures. Like look at the year we had in Commander alone, right? We had Commander Legends. If you took every other set from this year away and just Commander Legends, the deck brewing possibilities are monstrous.
Yep.
Right? Spread that
Mhm.
out over the last 2 years as well. So like I
With
said, the
no
last thing was like
impending
a battle
updating.
bond band. Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. It's so many sets and so
Yeah.
many
It's a
cards.
lot of
So
cards.
I'm gonna quickly go over this ban list. It's not very big. The only thing I'm gonna stop on is things that I think just there's no reason to ban, and we will talk about them individually. And if anyone else wants to jump in and say, "Hey, that shouldn't be banned," we'll go from there. But the ban list is pretty small.
Where's
It's all
our
anti and
buzzers?
It's all beep beep beep. It's all the anti cards and manual dexterity cards. Anti games are very fun. No one plays anti. Literally, no one but me and my brothers I've ever seen play anti. We get it. The following are banned: Ancestral Recall, Balance, Black Lotus, Black Vice, Channel, Counterbalance, Demonic Tutor, Earthcraft. Okay.
Demonic tutor should not be banned.
Yeah,
I-
I'm kind of in favor of unbanning some of these tutors. Like, there's no reason, like, as we go through the list, you'll see that, like, Worldly Tutor, for instance, isn't banned. So,
Which costs
you know,
1.
yeah, why exactly? Why can I tutor my creatures but not? I don't know. We'll keep going. Earthcraft, Edric, Spymaster of Trest, Fastbond, obviously, Goblin Recruiter, Grindstone, Hermit Druid, High Tide, which I think is a weird one to have banned.
Blue doesn't need all that mana.
Yeah, it's just one card in a mono blue deck. I don't know. Personally, not a huge fan of that one. Imperial Seal, Library of Alexandria, Caracas, which has to be banned in any commander version. Like, you can't have a unsummon on a land for legendary
Agreed.
creatures sitting. There's just no way. Most of the fast mana is banned. So Mana Crypt, Mana Drain is banned. Mana Volt, Metal Worker, Mind Twist, Mishra's Workshop, all of the mocks. Emerald, Jet, Ruby, Sapphire, and Pearl, obviously. Najeela, Necropotence, Shahrazad, Skull Clamp, Soul Ring, Strip Mine, which I 0% agree with.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that card existing in the format.
Yeah, well, especially maybe at the time when it was there, but like, you know what wasn't in the G's? Gaia's Cradle. You got to have an answer for that you know?
I would actually rather see Gaia's Cradle banned in this format than Strip Mine.
That's what I mean, right? Like, and again, we talked about how Field of the Dead still currently exists. Like, you need some answers.
I
don't think Field of the Dead's actually that powerful in this format.
Which one?
I don't think Field of the Dead is that powerful in this format.
Oh, you sweet,
I mean,
sweet child.
you absolutely can run the amount of lands, but when you're only running 14 to 18 lands,
yeah, but
getting it
when
active,
when one of them, when my commander's Azusa and a few of them are just bounce lands.
I'm not saying that it's not powerful. I agree it's powerful.
I'm gonna brew it. You've
Okay,
challenged.
Do it.
Strip Mine's so good. Survival of the Fittest, Sword of Body and Mind, which I actually do kind of agree on, because if you look at it statistically, you're milling 20% of someone's deck every time you hit them. That's a little too much. Yeah.
I think Bruvac should be banned.
I'm surprised that like half are. Hey, that's a good idea. But I think like actually now think about it, the ones that mill half of your cards are more than 3 CMC besides Bruvac.
There's a new one, but
Maddening
it's the same thing.
Cacophony.
Oh
yeah, it's but whatever. Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale, which really shouldn't exist. It's like it's just a make your friends hate you card. I play it all the time. I love it, but I get
it's also like a $4,000 Magic card.
It is, yes, correct. Time Vault, Time Walk, Time Twister, Tolarian Academy, Umaziwa's G, which I have never thought was like a very good card. I don't know. Maybe
I think in this format it would be insane.
Maybe
I think in
just
normal
ignorant.
commander it's fine, but
that's fair. Vamp Tutor, Wheel of Fortune, which I'm kind of bummed out too. I like Wheel of Fortune, but
well, again,
and then Yawgmoth's Will.
I almost don't think Vampiric Tutor would be a problem in this format.
I don't think the tutors, if you're only banning black tutors, then I think that's kind of one-sided. Black can search for anything, but like if
but you also got
that instant or sorcery.
I'm also personally not super into Yawgmoth's Will being banned. Like, it's a combo card, yeah. It's expensive as well, yeah. But the other thing is like, so play some counter spells.
I think that I can understand why they would want to ban the Vampiric Tutor and Demonic Tutor, being the black player that I am. I think it's okay, because the difference being all these other tutors are going to put the card on top of your library.
Well, Vamp Tutor does put to the top of the library.
Well, I guess I don't know. I just
my other thing is like looking at it as well. There's no reason that like Grim Tutor's not banned, because you know.
Or I mean, in that, why is Worldly Tutor and Sylvan Tutor not banned?
Yeah, like so a lot of them.
Enlightened Tutor.
A lot of them, yeah. There's some. I guess really, again, it's, to me, that would be more of a play group discussion and stuff, right? Like if you have a meta that likes to play that stuff, I don't know. Not many people play like the tutor style combos.
Well,
See, I
I'm just
generally
thinking.
run tutors for like toolbox, like answers or
Pardon me.
threats. I don't run them for like search up the combo piece to try and go off. I run them so I can go get an answer for something you have or to put a threat on the board.
I still think demonic tutor being banned is fine. Like I don't think it should be unbanned for the simple fact it does let you go for anything and go straight to hand. It is sorcery speed, but it gets you literally whatever you want whenever you need. Whereas the other ones, yes, they still most of the time are just going to go to the top of your library. And Grim Tutor, I could see not being as used for the simple fact that it is 3 CMC. I have to assume for 3 CMC you're going to be wanting to be doing something different, right?
And
For
you
the
lose 3
format being
life, which
Yeah, 3 life
Yeah.
in the
20
format is
it's kind
more
of like
substantial than in Commander.
it's kind of like the same reason like why I'll run demonic tutors all day in Commander, but I won't run diabolic tutor, or is it diabolic tutor? Whatever the other, the
Cost.
force.
yeah.
The 4-mana one's Diabolic Tutor.
Yeah, so like
Oh yeah.
Or even
I
Beseech the Queen.
yeah, Beseech the Queen's fine to depend on how many lands you have, whatever. But still, I can see that kind of thought process where demonic tutor being banned is still okay. The other ones probably aren't as bad now.
One card that you didn't mention, and for obvious reasons, because this wasn't updated in 2018, but I think Joule Lotus deserves a place on this ban list.
Yeah, I think universally people would agree with that because you can't really say that Mana Crypt and Soul Ring should be banned and then also have a 0-drop conveniently fits in the Commander CMC free
As long,
cast.
as long as you're running two color or monocolor Commander, that's a turn 1 Commander every day.
Well, that also turns into like crazy things. Like that's getting turn 1 Green Selvala out. That's getting turn 1 Marwyn out, so you can pretty easily. Yeah, well, you could pretty easily hit like a turn 1 Marwyn followed by like a Llanowar Elves, and then you're going into your next turn, saying you have a second land. You're dropping like 5 CMC or 5 mana turn 2 pretty quick. Marwyn would be pretty gross with that. Marwyn doesn't need to be any grosser. So,
And you didn't mention, well, you mentioned earlier, but Najila is banned, as well as who was the other ones? Derevi.
yeah, Derevi is banned. So there's 3 that are banned as a commander. You can't use Derevi as a commander, Areo, Soratami Ascendant, or Raphelos as commanders. But as far as I'm aware, they're format legal. You just can't use them
You
as
can have them in the
commanders.
49.
In the 49. Oh, Zach, you should have thrown on a high-pitched voice for it. Welcome to in 49.
I was unaware what was going on. Looking at you 3.
The other thing too is that like for a long time, 5 colors would not have really been accessible. I don't really know how you would have got 5 colors in Tiny Leaders until Sisay Weatherlight Captain, for instance, right? So that does also really change the format up in what you're able to do, because having Sisay out is a 5-color commander who can also tutor for other things. Like a Tiny Leader Sisay deck would be very fun.
That's really
Should be
interesting.
cool.
I think
Yeah.
it would be kind of difficult.
Tiny Shrines,
I think they're expensive.
not
No,
expensive
there's some
enough.
that are 2 and 3 cast and 1 casting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I don't think there would be enough of them to actually do it or make it.
Oh, you sweet child. So another thing
I
we were
just wanted you
talking
to say
about.
that to me.
We were talking about Benson as well earlier. He actually had a really good suggestion for anyone who's a little hesitant about maybe spending some money on making one of these decks. You don't know if you're going to play it. You can pretty easily take any existing deck that you have who might be around this CMC and just grab 50 cards from it. 50 cards that are going to, they're not going to be your ideal list because you didn't build it for Tiny Leaders. But if you just grab one of your decks, take half the deck that functions with the commander you choose and try it out. See if you like it.
So I guess so we're saying that there's 49 cards. How many lands would you guys run?
I think personally for me, my optimal would be somewhere between 15 and 18, depending on what kind of deck. I mentioned earlier that you could play like an Azusa kind of deck. You would want more lands in that, right?
So you're not going to play like super competitive, be like 10 lands. Yeah.
Maybe if you were playing like a really low, like 1-cost themed deck or something,
Or
but
Cheerios or something like that.
yeah, like
So for
So I'm
the
doing
All rogue
oh,
rack.
I'm
oh, bro.
doing Numa and Miara, like an elf ball strategy,
Yep.
and I'm planning to run 16 lands currently.
I
That
think
may
Yeah, I think
change,
that's a
but
pretty reasonable number, especially like you have the ramp from creatures, you have a mana sink with it, like you're not gonna peter out.
and like
Yeah,
elves is just something that's built for this right here.
Elves are
for
just
the
built different.
100%.
for the first version I have of Arami, its average CMC is 2.14, and I'm running 15 lands. And we do have access to some lands that are better in this format than maybe Commander. Like with the Scars lands, like Dark Slick Shores is what I'm going to be running. So the less lands I have, it's going to come into play untapped. Same thing for the lands that came out of Kaladesh.
The new Battle
There's
Bond lands as well really help
Mhm.
out. They're not really Battle Bond, they're Commander Legends, but I'm still calling them the Battle
Yeah, I
Bond
call them battle
cycle.
bond lands too.
Yeah, so long as
Same.
we're still doing multiplayer, like yeah, they're still very very good for this format. But
Well,
that's
and a solid increase into like the playability of a deck.
for sure. But I mean, that's what I'm running. Like I was looking at Arami with her caring about getting Encore, so I kind of do have a mana sink in the command spot as well. So being able to if I don't have anything else going on, worst case scenario, I can just Encore one of my creatures in the graveyard.
Yeah, Encore is a very cool mechanic for just in general playing. And Arami, like I said on an earlier episode, I wasn't interested in that as a commander, but I've seen a lot of really interesting builds with it. And it looks like a pretty good time to play, actually, now that I'm looking at some of these deck lists.
Yeah, I'm really
And
excited.
I know Zach has said it more than once, but Commander Legends has really changed the game for this format. I think it's
hmm
opened up a lot of possibilities that didn't exist.
Not
I,
only
I
do we, oh, go ahead.
No, you please.
Not only do we get all these great reprints of partners that we desperately needed because the price points were getting to be outrageous, but we also got all these new monocolored partners as well, and a lot of them are low CMC. So you're gonna be able to partner plenty of different things. If there's a color pairing you want to try that just you didn't have access to before, or there was a best of in slot, like you don't have to run, Doran anymore. You can run a different Abzan pairing, or same thing for Sultai, which I think there wasn't a real Sultai list at the time. Now, obviously, we have a bunch of different options, but it's really cool. It's another reason why Commander Legends is just still continuing to be like valuable to us as Commander players, especially as we start getting into these variant formats.
Like as
Well, and
we oh go
go ahead, Brian.
like because as more and more as we talk about this format, just kind of the more ideas of like the cards that I have that I probably wouldn't use. Like I've been saying, like I've said it so many times that like when I first started playing, white weenies was like the way that I went, just
Yeah,
super
you can just slap.
aggro. Yeah, so now there's what the is it Linden, the 3 white, and you gain life.
Sure is. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Throw in
Yeah.
Suntail Hawk and a couple of the other guys. Whenever you gain life, put +1/+1 counters on them.
hmm
Get yourself a Crusade and a Glorious Anthem.
Not allowed Crusade anymore. Or would that
Yeah,
be banned?
Crusade's banned.
Would that be banned in Tiny Leaders?
Yeah,
It's
I
banned in
feel like
Commander.
that. I feel like that overall one
Yeah, I
goes.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
they
forgot
did
I
it
about
feel
for
that.
like you
those
can't
same
invoke
reasons.
prejudice in this format.
no,
Okay, fair enough. A Glorious Anthem.
Yeah, even though I
Yeah,
have
one of
like
the other 60 cards that do the same thing.
and the kind of the depressing thing is I have one of like the old foil, very nice Crusades.
Yeah.
No, I just can't use it. No one's gonna take it.
Yeah.
Well, Brian,
Uh,
if you ever want to play 1v1,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
But yeah,
Um
I think it's gonna be really neat to do that.
well, yeah, white has so many just those anthems in general. The other thing is with 25 life, Boros doesn't suck all of a sudden.
hmm
You can aggro the table. Dante
but
rejoice.
just like a weenie strategy aggro deck is extremely viable in this
Yeah.
format.
You
I would
well,
can
well,
boat
100%
people
go
in this
that route.
deck. You can have some actual burn going.
well,
Yeah.
when we were talking about building lists, I was torn between doing Arami and Arden and Rograk. Like
Yep.
I never want to build Boros at all, but this was the first time I was like, man, they're already very good in Commander in general. Like Andrew, we've played with him multiple times. He has a deck. I haven't got to play against Dan's yet, but he has a Rograk and Arden deck, and it was very very powerful. I can't imagine like how it'd be in this format because we still have access to like pretty much anything you would want. Like
Yeah,
you
I,
get Stoneforge Mystic, all the swords minus Body and Mind,
Sword
and a
of
bunch of
War
other.
and Peace seems insane in this format.
Isochronic
Blood,
Scepter's 3.
Ford, Battle Axe.
Yep.
Isochronic
good.
Scepter's 3 cost, right?
2.
2. So yeah, you could Isochronic Scepter and Boros charm people.
I think it's 2. Am I crazy?
Yeah, it's red and white.
No, not that Isochron Scepter. Is it 2 or 3?
Oh, I believe it's 2.
But yeah, so you could sit
Yeah,
there and
it's
have
2.
a timer on the field and Isochronic Scepter someone over and over again.
Yeah. Lightning Bolt could be a card. I got the
Chain-
secret layer Lightning Bolts. Throw that bear down.
How much fun is Chain Lightning in this format? We'll just bounce it all over the place.
Yeah, you get it. You understand what's going on.
Too bad.
Obviously, like I said, the more we chat about it, there's so many just like potential things. It seems fun, and one reason that I think everyone should build a Tiny Leaders deck is all of us have run into this exact situation at one point or another. Not everyone in your play group is there yet. You're waiting. You want to get a quick game in, and those quick games sometimes turn into your friend finally shows up and they're waiting 40 minutes to play while you finish it out.
Yep.
Happens
So-
all the time.
And
Yeah,
this format can be really cheap.
Yeah.
Compared to Commander, because I mean, you don't have to play with these big battle cruiser magic or combo and heavy counter magic and heavy removal. I mean, you put 1 or 2 pieces of removal, some cheap creatures.
I'm pretty sure everyone knows I'm not a very janky player. I don't really
Come on, Dan.
not a big budget guy, not a big jank guy. I really do like a lot of the efficiency stuff.
Hey, you knocked it out of the park last week.
But but that being said, like there's just so many things that people like, and that's one of them. People like just like little silly decks that just dirtle around and play these like silly interactions that people don't think of. And this kind of is also like a format that really can find a place for that. There's a lot of ways, like Brian said, like even just like getting some white weenies in and stuff. You wouldn't really want to make like 1/1 beaters in Commander.
No, especially with so
This
much
format, they're fantastic.
In our last game, Benson could have dropped Galt at turn 2. I'm playing
Yeah.
my little white weenies with a 12/12 trample on the field.
Yeah.
Death
al-
touch, son.
Also, it does function the same way as every other format. X is considered 0 in a card's cost, so you are able to get some bigger spells into play. Obviously, like you can play things like Jan Wave. You can play Blue Sun Zenith.
Torment of
Cyclonic Rift.
Hellfire.
Mm-hmm.
Dan's favorite magic card.
Yeah, that's still viable in this set too, isn't it?
Which one?
Cyclonic Rift.
Cyclonic Rift.
Cyclonic Rift is viable, and it
Agadeem's
hurts me.
Awakening is amazing in this format,
Yep.
or at least
Oh.
I think it will be.
A lot of the finales as well. Those are available cards in these formats.
You can Finale of Devastation for 10,
You sure can.
and then just go get your 1/1 and kill the table.
Yeah. Finale of Devastation for 10 for that Infect Elf.
Oh, wow.
Glistener
Glistener
Elf, I
Elf,
think is
yeah.
what- yeah.
I wonder if like the Slippery Boggle deck that ran rampant.
I had Boggles
Modern.
in Modern. I had
Yeah,
Boggles.
I wonder if that would be a viable deck for Tiny Leaders.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't.
yeah. No, it just
It
it's
just
little-
seems fun.
Little small stuff that you just throw enchantments on.
Yeah.
What? Because what? It'd just be you get to play Indestructible, or is that a 4 cost enchantment?
not
Indestructible
sure.
is 3.
Yeah, 3. So you could throw Indestructible on there. You could throw the Ethereal Armor for 1. So he's already a 3/3, and then yeah, just keep tossing.
I'm just
Another-
bummed Brass Chana isn't
Oh,
available in this format.
you got to move on, Zach. You're living in the past. The future is now, old man.
Zach's like,
I
I'm
mean-
quitting this format. I can't play Brash Tawner.
Oh, hold on. There's Spiteful Sliver and Mog Maniac. I can still play Brass Chana.
You can,
He's
you
just
can
not
make it
There you
happen.
go. Challenge accepted.
Another really cool thing is the Wyleth, that new Boros Precon commander. He does fit into it as well. He's 3 CMC. He's 1 Boros. and he's the 2/2 trample. Whenever he attacks, draw a card for each aura and equipment on him, which is
Oh,
also another very viable. Like Boros not being horrible. Like what year is it?
I might have to go and pick that up actually.
Oh, and that's the other thing. Everyone talking about the format being solved, I don't think ever saw Kinnan coming.
No.
Yeah. Kinnan Bonder Prodigy would Prodigy?
Seems
Yeah.
Prodigy.
Oh,
Either way, would just
amazing.
go hard. Yep. Uro also.
Time to replace one card in my 2-lane deck to
Um,
free up
How
Kinnan.
about Croxa?
Is Croxa? I thought he was 4.
He's
Nice too. He's
2.
just black red.
Rakdos.
Oh, he sure is. Yeah.
Same
Croxa
thing.
definitely goes.
Same thing for Zera Dawnwalker.
Yeah.
Zerda the
Oh,
Enchantress
Zerda.
3/2.
Yeah, Zerda is really good.
Four.
Another one that I immediately realized that I was going to brew and I'm going to probably brew up today because no list I can see as bandit is Luros. Luros of the Dream Den.
No, that's
Yeah.
definitely legal.
Uh,
Brian, you could play Jen.
You could.
You mean
Is it
Gen?
3?
Yeah,
I think
Gwen?
it's just
just
Mardu.
Mardu.
Legalized Lutri?
Tidy Mardu.
Tiny Mardu?
You could play Vile Smasher and Timna the Weaver.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's the other thing is that like I was talking to some of my more competitive friends and they're like, "Well, I don't know if I try this." I'm like, "Your decks are already this. Just play with half of the deck. This is it."
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
the
I
deck
I mean,
you
you
play.
might have to buy 10 cards, but
I don't even think they would. All of their cards are like take out ad nauseum and your deck's ready to go.
although I don't think Vile Smasher would be that amazing in this format.
True.
Timna would be amazing.
Well, Thrasios and Timna is a pairing that works in this.
I didn't think about Thrasios as a commander in this.
Yep.
That
Thrasios and
seems
Timna
insane.
is available here.
I'm legitimately gonna build a Loris deck.
Yeah, I know, right?
completely I could.
Yeah.
That me. It me.
Yeah. Exactly. That's definitely that's Zach's wheelhouse. I
could
thought
play-
initially when you said you're doing Arami, I was like, he's not doing Luros? He forgot
I
about
just
the cat?
Yeah, I completely forgot about. I'm not even gonna lie because I have card.
Lost
Is the-
his
I have.
mind.
Is
Ooh,
the
I have
Rakdos one? I
Corval.
forget, or not Rakdos.
Or not
The
Corval,
Boros
but
one. I forget its name. Is that 3 as well?
Which one?
Zerda.
The companion one, Zerda.
Yep.
Yeah, Zerda the Dawn
Yeah,
Treader is.
Sure
And
Yeah, like
is.
play with the
Zer-
artifacts. Be like Basalt Monolith, infinite mana.
Zerda's my silliest competitive deck right now because I can, with a 4-card hand and no mana involved, I can win the game.
You know what's something interesting to think about too?
No
We're
lands
talking.
involved. Definitely mana.
We're talking about the companions, but we're not talking about them as companions. That's something else we haven't really like. There's no way
I guess, yeah, how would Companion function in...
it'd have to function the same way, right? Paying 3 to be able to put it into your hand. It'd still have to match the 3 CMC or less, but there's no way
Some
that
of them
Tiny
would be
Leaders
hard, though,
ever like
Isn't one of
we're-
them it's only odd in your deck?
but that's above
Only
they're both
odder because we're playing Lutri.
the odd and even are 5 and 6 CMC, so they wouldn't work. But Loris, for example, works very well with Karlov.
Yep.
Karlov being 2, Loris being 3. I'm
Mhm.
fairly positive Loris only. I think
Yeah,
Loris
Luris
carries.
is two or less.
Yeah,
But he would make a really cool, like, reanimate sack style deck. It breaks my heart in twain that Tayam is 4 mana. I would love the whole point of my Tayam deck is 3 CMC or less tribal. I would love if that was a thing.
you got
Oh,
like I
Grakma.
love.
You can play Grakma.
You could
Yeah.
also you could also just make the because I'm still talking about companions because I love them, but the one that cares about cats, nightmares, beast, because I'm
Oh,
pretty sure it's 3 CMC.
it's like Ophini or something.
No.
I don't know.
It's
Ophira?
the white green one.
Yeah, the white green
Yeah.
one. It's in my deck in the other room.
I'm pretty sure it's named Ophira. I'm basing that on nothing, but it sounds right.
Basing that on it.
I think it starts with K.
Kahina?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
I really think I'm going to build a
white
companion deck
companion.
with. I'm going to build an Orzhov companion. Yep, it's happening.
Yeah, it is. It's Kahira. I wasn't even a little close. The Orphan Guard.
Yeah, Vigilance.
I just what I always like about getting excited about quote unquote new formats is I just love brewing. I love restrictions. That's why I like Commander like I do. Being able to now not only, further down my restrictions, but it also makes my entire collection that much more playable. And that's what I really like. I'm sure as collectors, we kind of get bad feelings sometimes because not every card is playable, quote unquote, in the formats that we play in. But
Primeval Titan.
but
Best Magic card ever.
expanding out and getting into these other variants, suddenly, like I love playing Popper. All my commons are good. Same
Yeah,
thing
they're
for
suddenly
this.
usable.
Same thing for this. There's plenty of cards like I've wanted to use, but it's just like I don't like why would I run I don't know, what was it called? The new uncommon, I think sorcery out of Double Masters. It's like all creatures get neg 2, neg 2. It's black.
Oh, didn't even think about it, but Feed the Swarm is definitely also a really, really good addition to this format because of
Mm-hmm.
its ability to answer enchantments in a color that just can't answer enchantments.
But
Yep, that's very
it's
true.
just nice because
And you're
there's
not going to take 5.
Yep.
yeah. It's just nice because you can like yes, Toxic Deluge is playable in this format, but do you really want to lose the life? Like everything's going to be pretty low as far as power and toughness, anyways. So I don't know. I'm
So,
just
so I
Tiny Leaders
guess
has
like,
given me a home for a lot of these Yargle cards.
what what do you guys? So we do this with our decks, but pros and cons to the format.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a really good thing. I will start with pros, just some of mine, and then we'll go around and see. The pro is I think that it enables different kind of games, still in the spirit of EDH that we like. You're still going to have high power games. You're still going to have casual games. You're still going to have budget games, but you're going to have just different things. And that's what we like with EDH, right? We like that it's different variable games. We like fast games and we like to play with our friends, right? This is just another way to play with your friends. Maybe get some more games in. If anyone's able to play tonight, even for we're recording on Saturday, I'm hoping that I can get some tiny leader games in by the end of the day. And I'll probably be able to get like 10 or 11 games in if available.
Yeah, goes so fast.
I think some cons to this format and pro in the same way is I think the format could easily become very, very competitive. Which I think can be a con for some play groups and can be a pro for other play groups.
Well, I do really. That was going to be another one of my pros was that there's tournament playability because having sideboards, having it be people don't like one-on-one EDH. I love it, and people don't like it.
I like it when the deck is built for it.
Yeah,
just
like
one-on-one
me and Ryan
EDH.
get some 101 games here and there when we can't really find anyone else. Those games are fun. I do
Yeah,
enjoy
we
our
have fun.
rants.
Yeah. I think it's it was a solved format 2+ years ago, almost 3 years ago, but I think with the addition of all these new sets into our formats, I think it's going to breed some new life into the format. I think it's going to be fun that we kind of have for the most part, a completely unexplored format for
Yeah,
3 years. Like there's a 3-year gap of unexplored. So I think you're going
I'm
to see a lot of new interesting ideas, and the brews are going to be awesome. The
I was going to
gameplay
say
is
it
going to be
sounds
very
like a deck
interesting.
brewer's. It's a deck brewer's wet dream right now.
Yeah.
and I didn't even know about this format until you guys started talking about it.
Yeah, like
Uh,
there's so many new potential things like that. Like Zach said, right? He just likes to brew with new things, and yeah, it's not solved anymore. You're not seeing a ton of these new updated lists. Like there's so many fun potential ways to build and re-break this format, re-experience it. I think a big con is that it's currently, for lack of a better word, dead. There's no rules committee. There's no top-down like ban list. It's all kind of fractured. There's tiny leaders. Tiny leaders reborn. Like there's not a consolidated effort to, hey, we all want the same thing. We want a community that is healthy. How do we go about it, right?
How
Like
do
I
you
think
fix
that
that, Dan?
yeah. Oh, yeah. We fix that by just consolidating it and playing it. At the very least, we will on our server update our ban list. We'll engage with our communities and we'll go from there. Try bring more and more people in because we have a great Discord full of awesome games and great people.
Zach, we haven't heard your cons or pros.
So one of my pros is, like I said, being able to pull through my entire collection and suddenly look at cards with a new light. That's something I'm super excited about. one of the cons I think that we really will face will be um, determining what is going to be too powerful, what's not going to be too powerful.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really concerned about. Is it's going to take a lot of time and effort on our end to try to determine, is Oko too powerful in this format? Is Thassa's Oracle too powerful in this format? Um,
Would you
because
say that that would be our responsibility or community responsibility?
what, yeah, when I mean our, I mean
Okay,
like
greater
an
Our
the
servers
umbrella.
version,
the
yeah.
royal we.
Yes, yes.
I think that
That.
turns it into a pro though, because we need the
Oh yeah.
community. We need you guys to come play with us so we
Yeah.
can get more games in. So it's not just our inbred meta that determines all these things. We need a
Hillbilly
wider
leaders.
well, we need a wider group. We need
Oh, you got
more
Brad with
blood
that.
playing it.
Our inbred ideas. I love that.
But I mean, it's true. That's what I was saying. Is like it. That does seem like a con, and it is a pro for sure. But it's a very like large. It is definitely something like we can.
It's a hill to
Uh,
climb.
It's a
yeah,
daunting
it's
task for sure.
because there is like you guys. Ryan said it. There's 2+ years of like nothing, and when you look at modern and you look at legacy and well, standard kind of whatever, but modern and legacy is going to be our closest equivalencies as far as card pulls. And like you see Loris band, you see um Deathrite Shaman band, and these are kind of cards that we need to think about, because typically if these formats like Legacy is playing it, our closest thing to Commander is going to be Legacy. It has almost the same card pool and similar like constraints, so pairing the two is going to be, it's going to be a lot, but we can get there, I'm sure.
There's there is a lot of work to do with it, but if people didn't put any work in before, then Commander itself wouldn't be a format, right?
Yep, very
Right.
true.
So
Yeah,
I
I'm not
definitely think
concerned.
that yeah, I know at the very minimum, I have built a deck. I'm going to play it. I'm going to build more decks.
Mhm.
I'm pretty close to having one deck finished, and it's not going to be my only deck.
Yep.
Well, after we get done recording this podcast, I'm literally gonna turn around, go grab that purple deck box right there, which is uh, Papa Karlov, and I'm gonna build my tiny leaders deck.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm really hoping that I can get some games, and I think it'd be a really fun stream to be able to just be a part of. And I think you'll, as silly as it is, with these little decks and these little CMCs, I think you're going to see a lot more explosivity, right? You're not going to see people stuck on uncastable things. You're not seeing people wait 5 turns to get a Kenrith out or something like that.
Mhm.
And I think as well, you're not going to see such widely imbalanced things, even in like a competitive kind of thing, where like I'm turn one Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, cast Golos,
Yeah,
Nope.
just
right?
I'm sure there's still gonna be very powerful plays, obviously, but I'm
Fuchin Uro.
like I said, very powerful plays,
Hey.
but I don't know, I'm excited because I feel like this is kind of once again kind of reigniting like, my interest in the format, or in Magic in general, because like with Commander, I really like, those explosive turns, those like stories. I love when something stupid happens and I can text the group like, guys, this just happened. Why? And I feel
Well,
like
I think you're
we're
right. Exactly. That's the best part of Magic is those like really, really big plays that are just so fun, and it just changes the deck. Like Zach comes through and he encores the table with a cool card out of nowhere because no one knew what was in his grave, right?
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah,
just those are the best nights with your friends, right? Nobody wants to see a one-sided blowout. Everybody loves the good comeback.
I'm
Yeah, and
so
I
looking.
think this format's really going to weigh heavily on removal and some form of evasion, because you're not going to have big game enders like Craterhoof Behemoth or Overwhelming Stampede, or so you have to get through your damage with smaller creatures. So you're going to need some form of evasion, because everybody's going to have 1/1s, 2/2s, and 3/3s on the board.
I'm just gonna cross out Behemoth and like put mouse.
I'm gonna just get Hope to alter one of those black symbols off Damnation, and we're good to go.
Like it definitely, like, you guys are like, your excitement for this is like rubbing off, and now like realizing that so many, like my rogues deck, I could easily turn that into a tiny leaders, or I could
Yep.
make that white weenies deck and it'd actually be fun to play because 25 life, I can beat someone to death.
Yeah.
And you
Or
probably have half the cards laying around your
yeah,
hobby room.
well, yeah, no, like there's Suntail Hawk, there's that Slith guy,
Yep.
or whatever it is. Like like the cards that you would not use that are in the commons and uncommons. Like
Isamaru.
I went to go. I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna build a white weenie deck, and I had the cards ready, and I didn't do it because I was like, do you know what's not viable? I was like,
It's not going to work. Yeah.
Once someone gets like a big 12/12 or an 8/8, I can't deal with that, and I'm not running that much removal because then I won't have my white weenies. Like it's
I just think that this has inspired me to build a lot of decks. I'm going to just keep building these decks right now, and a lot of them will be able to. It's going to let me explore a lot of commanders that I just don't really want to commit a full deck to yet. But now, like for instance, I talked a lot when we were doing the Commander Legends previews that I wanted to do Rograk and Keleth, and that seems like such a fun deck. Like it's Rograk, it's a Warhorse. He gets bigger every time he attacks. You guys get the gist of it.
I was looking at that too.
But then Arden, like then I can just like put all my equipment on, and I'm like, I can just equip Argentum armor and like the Colossus Warhammer. Yeah, I'm gonna do that for sure. So that's what that deck came, and then I was like, well, I'm not gonna build like a second like full out deck that way. Another commander that would function super well in this that people can finally revisit as well is Feather. Feather is so viable for this. Like everything is those cheap cantrips, those cheap combat tricks that come back to your hand. Like another great option for it, right? There's a lot of things that you can revive because nobody really likes to play against Feather in just a
No,
normal one because it's just like, oh, Daniel's repeating the same turn every turn.
on everyone's turn.
Yeah, on everyone's turn. End step. I'm going to draw a card.
Yeah.
Draw a card. Yeah, and I'll draw a card. Right. So I don't know. I think that there's like a lot of cool potential. I'm excited to keep building it, and yeah, I just right now EDH is in a good spot. Everybody kind of has their own personal assessments of threats. You get the gist of the game, right? But with this, it's totally new to me, right? There's something I don't know what's good in this format. I don't know what is going to be problematic. Like Zach said, Mana Leak. Mana Leak changes the game when I'm trying to get something out early and I get mana leaked, right? And I don't
Force
see,
Spike is even insane in this format.
yeah,
Mana
you just there's
Tithe.
so many things that you just aren't gonna see, and yeah, I think that everyone could learn to play more removal.
Yep.
That's one of the best things, and I just think putting commanders into people's decks is hilarious.
And luckily all the white
Proteus staff them right on in there.
and I think having like all the white removal is 3 or less.
Yeah.
Generous gifts, swords, plowshares.
Extinction
one
event,
that I'm
even though it's
missing.
black, seems bonkers.
Yeah, Extinction Event seems very cool.
Proteus staff is 3.
Now you're just
Put those
starting to
commanders
get-
right back in people's decks, right on the bottom too.
How much is Staff of Domination?
3. Staff of Domination is a go. Repeat is a go. Oh, Fibblethip. I'll just turn my
Yeah.
Fibblethip deck into my
I
tiny
thought he
little
was
thing.
4 CMC.
Fibblethip is 2. He's an Elvish
Oh.
Visionary.
Oh, it was 4.
Not Land War Visionary.
Yeah. He doesn't tap for mana, unfortunately.
Mark.
Man, I love that episode.
Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, so
Um,
like as of the release of this episode, we will be releasing our own Tiny Leaders chat room or channel or whatever Discord
Yeah, and our
does.
Discord, just a place to brew. We're also going to be starting to host deck lists on our site as well. So just community deck lists that we play with for EDH, but also for Tiny Leaders and stuff. So people can come in, look through what we're playing, what we're actually doing. And yeah, that should be up and running kind of whenever we get around to it. But soon I hope.
There's just so much stuff on the go. Like it's
There is a lot of content on our website. So definitely check it out if you guys have not checked it out already.
yeah.
And let us know if you're excited about this, what you're going to be working on. We'd love to see and hear. You might inspire one of us to brew something that we didn't think about that you're working on.
Yeah, what unknown cheap CMC guy or commander would you want to build that we didn't mention or we might not even be aware of?
like I said, I don't know this format yet. This is the best chance to come on stream and humiliate me. Get on it.
And I think that will be a fun thing if you want to come watch some of our streams. Is we're all new to this format. We're all
I thought you
playing.
meant to come humiliate me. I was like, wow, rude.
We're all
Got 'em.
new to the format, new to brewing with it. So you're going to see our ideas, and
Backfire.
hopefully,
I'm certain a bunch of my new decks are going to be not good, and I'm excited for that. Yeah.
absolutely. I'm excited
yeah.
too.
Thank you guys so much. Brian, tell them where they can find all our content here.
So you can check us out on all of our socials, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, Into the 99. You can check out our YouTube channel where you can find all of our weekly streamed games, as well as deck techs and our new show, Parallel Thoughts, with Necrozak and Benson. As well
Definitely
as,
an interesting thing to check out.
it was very entertaining. And then we also have the website, like Dad mentioned, where we do have written articles by members of the community. You can find all of our content in one shop, as well as our podcast that you're listening to right now. It releases every Sunday at noon.
Mountain Standard Time. Brian, what
MST.
for anyone who doesn't know?
Sorry?
What is the website for anyone who doesn't know?
www.intothe99.com. As well, new release is our merch store, where you can get sweaters, t-shirts, and other apparel with our logos and help support us, and our Patreon, where you can pick a tier to support us with. Lots of goodies.
If you guys found us through Apple Podcasts, please leave us a like and a review. It really helps get us out there and help people find us, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
See ya.
Have a good night.
Bye.